Ghosts, monsters, the undead, murderers. Horror allows us to explore the darker avenues in life and to confront our greatest fears. Are you brave enough to seek them out? Then follow me into the spectral study. Today on Tomestones, I will be reviewing the Canadian body horror novel The Troop by Nick Cutter. It was published by Gallery Books on February 25th, 2014. Scoutmaster Tim knows that this year's weekend excursion to Falstaff Island may well be the troop's last. The 5 boys comprising his troop in their rural Prince Edward Island town of North Point are growing up and growing apart, and they've reached an age where the coolness factor of their hobbies affects their social standing. This is the troop's last hurrah, and everyone is looking forward to it, until a mysterious stranger shows up at their cabin. As a town doctor, Scoutmaster Tim feels responsible to help the stranger medically, but it becomes increasingly apparent that the man is suffering from some unknown malady, and Tim is out of his depth. Fearing the spread of disease, he barricades himself and the patient inside the cabin, leaving the boys to fend for themselves on the island as a major storm system approaches. Their survival skills are put to the ultimate test as the battle for social dominance and increasing paranoia pit the boys against each other and their surroundings. The boys are written as archetypes, at least in the early chapters of the novel. Kent is the cool, athletic leader, Newt is a chubby nerd, Ephraim and Max are the inseparable best friends, and Shelley is the quiet weirdo. Thankfully, once the boys are separated from Tim, these archetypes evolve into nuanced characters that clearly emphasize the youth and naivete of the boys. Existing relationships break down under stress, and new relationships develop in their place, while the mainland hierarchy is also abandoned. Only Shelley remains an unlikable character throughout, as he transitions from town misfit to the novel's secondary antagonist, albeit in a cliché manner that is often depicted as grotesquely as possible. Interspersed with the third-person narrative are a variety of documents, including newspaper articles, lab reports, and testimonials that serve to inform the reader of the origins of the strange malady, the result of science run amok, while the boys remain in the dark. While epistolary elements can sometimes create a distance between the reader and the text, the majority of these documents involve either relatives of the boys or the scientists who created this problem, so there's no such issue present here. Additionally, being fully aware of what the boys are dealing with while watching them struggle to comprehend the futility of their situation is especially heartbreaking and harrowing. The descriptive detail provided is not for the squeamish or the faint of heart. Cutter wants readers to experience physical reactions to his prose, so he assaults all of the senses. Readers would be hard-pressed not to vicariously undergo the same tortures suffered by the adolescent protagonists. Since this is clearly written as body horror, the primary fears are violation of the body and loss of control due to the spread of the contagion. However, these fears are more impactful due to the young age of the protagonists. Adolescence is already a time of change where one fears no longer knowing who they and their friends are due to frequent physical and emotional changes, but adding a literal transformation due to disease is especially resonant and provides significance to the horrors undergone on the island. Fears of unregulated science are also present through the lab reports and subsequent trial of the lead scientists responsible for unleashing this creation, as are hints of biological warfare. The Troop is a visceral experience that is not for everyone, but if the idea of Lord of the Flies is written and directed by David Cronenberg piques your interest, you should definitely read it. Pros: detailed descriptions, squirm-inducing body horror, good use of epistolary format, and evolving characters. Cons: archetypes in the early chapters, devolution of Shelley into a cliché, and a bleak ending. Final verdict: 4 out of 5 haunted tomes. Have you read The Troop? What did you think of it? Were you squicked by the descriptions? Leave your comments below and stay tuned for the next episode of Tomestones, where I will be reviewing the revisionist novella, The Ballad of Black Tom. I'm Sari Mayacher, librarian and horror enthusiast. Thank you for joining me in the spectral study.